What is up, everyone? You are in Chatting with Zim, where you'll be talking with this guy, Zim Zimma, #1 winner. Yeah, so thanks everybody for tuning in. Hey, there we go, man. Man of the hour, picture player. Today I bring you picture player Ryan Solski. Hopefully I said that right, man. He's a Canadian artist and designer. You know, he does stuff with like sketchcard slaps, original artwork. It's all dope. He's from the north side, so way up there for me, man.
Yeah, a little bit north, kind of on the right, close to the border.
Cool. Ryan.
Buffalo and Ontario.
Dang. Well, Ryan, thanks for coming in, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad to join.
Cool, man. How was your
Mart?
What happened?
We're gonna talk some art, or?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk some art, man. First up, how's your day been? How's your Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday's been going well. You know, a nice quiet Sunday. You know, got to go around. I live in Toronto, so got to go downtown and walk around for a while. See the sights. A lot of people are in the festive mood. There was a little bit of snow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not much, just a little bit of flurries.
Sweet, man. Anything you're expecting out there in the pop culture world?
Not too much just yet. You know, looking forward to the new Star Wars movie.
Oh shit, I forgot all about that, dude.
Oh yeah, that's coming up this weekend. Coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Dang.
I guess with the Mandalorian, people aren't even as excited because they got in their fix of Star Wars each week.
Right. You've been keeping up with that?
I haven't watched it yet. My brother has Disney Plus. I was gonna watch it with him the other day, but I've been waiting to sign up for it.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I've been watching it, dude. It's pretty awesome, dude. I should have waited, you know, because I think it's only like 5 or 6 episodes, something like that. I should have waited so I could binge everything, but
yeah. Well, I looked on the Disney Plus thing there, and a lot of, you know, there's some really good content for children and young adults, and also people who are, you know, fans of the cartoon medium and the youth culture. You know, it's a lot different than I guess mainstream TV, and but yeah, I'm figuring as soon as they start dropping the Marvel shows on it, I'm gonna definitely get it by then.
Sweet, dude. You heard about that Wonder Woman? I recently saw the trailer for that, man.
Oh yeah, saw the trailer first hour, I think it was. So excited for it. It's I'm a big fan of the comic book movies done right, and you know, I think that they're doing movie after movie where the characters are coming through as, you know, believably like the comic character that we've all read and imagined, you know, like Batman, Superman, Justice League, you know, all the Marvel movies lately. You know, big fan of even some of the TV shows like Legion.
Okay.
That's really good. Watchmen, watching that one.
I haven't seen that one yet, man. I've heard good things, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one of those things when you watch it and you can feel that tingle in your spine. That it's good. You know, like, yeah.
Cool. Are you keeping up with this whole crisis on the DC part?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes and the 2 aftermath specials that were on with Kevin Smith hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, looking forward to January. I guess they're in back to back the last 2 parts on the 14th January. But yeah, that's one of the words that they used in the aftermath special was fan service. That the shows were designed by fans. You know, that's the creators of the TV shows to provide fan service for you know those, I'd say, millions of fans. You know,
okay,
that are there. And you know, like you know, some of those great parts, like John Wesley Shipp.
Okay.
Reprising his role as the Flash from the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
And his role that was excellent. Brandon Routh doing Superman from he was Superman Returns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that where it's great, and it was neat to watch a show from beginning to end. The characters are in costume for the entire thing. That's something that 15 years ago, you'd be lucky if you get 10 minutes of characters in costume, if that.
No, dude, it's definitely a fucking geek's dream. You know what I'm saying? It's like when it comes to comics and stuff, obviously Marvel, DC are the top two, man. But I lean one side more than the other, but it's awesome just seeing these characters live, dude.
Yeah, well, there's even stuff like watching The Walking Dead, comic. It's a little more independent, the idea, but it's. I was reading the article about how they have their own company now, like Walking Dead Productions, that does all the shows and the new show coming out next year, and that's the thing where it took a comic that had a very linear beginning, serialized story, and skewed it a bit and really made something more out of it, I guess. Some people argue it's not as important, but
sweet, man.
Yeah. One of the great things watching all the I tend to think of it as photo comics, or serialized, film comics, is that the characters, there's a version of them then, which as an artist, if I wanted to do a drawing, or any of the other artists, so if they wanted to do drawings of the characters, they have a model there on their screen. They don't, you don't have to leave your house to see it. You can pause it or whatever, and draw from it for inspiration. And I see a lot of that on Instagram here, a lot of fan art. And it's something that, back in the 90s, I never imagined the internet would actually be that up to date with it, and that there would be so many artists out there who are in touch with the topic, I'd say, because the characters are the topic in the fan art, but also, it's a great thing. Before I used to be, I remember everyone would talk about the artists and the writers of the comic books back in the 90s. That was what people would chat room on about. Yeah. Or where the storyline was going in the latest comic. And now there's so much more. There's so much more to read too. And,
No, there's not only that, plus I mean just the talent out there, dude. I mean, it's ridiculous, bro. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, today I went to the local video store, and the guy at the store, I was talking to him for a bit, and I was mentioning I'm doing an interview tonight, and he says, I didn't even know you drew. And they sell comics there and stuff like that too. But I showed him some drawings, and he said, you should be doing comics for real. And I'm like, well, maybe one day.
Yeah,
I'm still young.
Well, man, I guess that brings us full circle, man. Let's get into it, man. More about you.
Sure.
Well, first off, man, once again, thanks again for everyone tuning in as well. Thank you guys for coming in. We got Ryan, aka Picture Player. So right off the back, man, are you just here on Instagram, or where else can we find you?
I'm on Instagram. I don't really use Facebook much, but I've got a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's just my name, Ryan Solski, so it's pretty easy to find. My link's in my bio for how to spell my name. Not too hard. I used to have a website. Ended up, the lack of feedback, which you can actually get on a website, is, I found, it was more negative than towards where Instagram, where you can post something each day and get feedback and you can message with other artists. I found it a bit more interesting. But yeah, I used to show in art galleries, and realistically, I'm on Instagram mostly for my drawings, and I find that's I've tried a couple other things, and it's just, this is the only thing that really stuck.
Cool, man. Ever think about doing TikTok? I recommend that as well to other artists.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's Instagram, but for small videos, like Vine size videos,
Okay.
So I mean, if you ever want to do like live little quick sketches and boom, throw it on.
Yeah, I still have to get a some sort of stand to be able to film a sketch while
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sketching.
Yeah.
So now it's, I have to hold the iPad, and it's a little too difficult.
Sweet, dude. So, Ryan, let's start from the beginning, man. How long you been drawing for, bro?
Well, I'm 37, going 38 in a couple months. So, there was, like most artists who kind of take it serious enough. I started when I was young. I can remember picking up comic books back in the 80s, drawing from them. There was a point in, I think in high school where my teachers told me that I have to go to school for my drawings after high school. So I went off, and it was originally called the Ontario College of Art and Design in Toronto. And now they've added university to it. It was in my my fourth year there that they actually got university status. So I went to school there, and basically my gallery career launched. Lasted about 7 years or so, until the point of what I was drawing and what the internet was able to provide made more sense. But yeah, I've been drawing all the way through there. Went to Comic Cons back in the 90s, and since then, I know quite a few of the artists that are out there that are, some of the independents and some of the more mainstream artists guys are my friends. I always found that having a support network of artists helps to foster more growth, in the drawings, and you got someone to share with, even when pre-Instagram and pre all these social media things. You could show your drawings to a friend, and they comment to you in person. That was actually just as interesting as getting some comments on online here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I draw for the love of drawing, and it's like it to me. I think that drawing is like writing. Like a writer will always sit there and write stuff. They write what they see, what they feel, what they imagine. The most important part is what they imagine. With drawing, part of it's documentative. Where I if I'm really into Archie comics and reading them, and I'll find a panel I like, and then I'll try to draw it, giving it my own idea of it. But it's a form of documenting it. But a lot of it is also like if I have an idea, I'll just put it on the page there, and if it's good enough, I'll share it online here.
Yeah, definitely therapeutic, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you could say that that comic books is what pretty much inspired you to draw, man, or?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For me, I've got probably about 5,000 comics.
Oh plus. Shit! Nice collection.
Yeah, a big collection, and I collected a lot of it. Probably my first 15 years of collecting, got quite a few of them. By about 3,000 or 4,000 of them. And there's a point when my parents told me to stop buying comics. It's just not as many. And I actually listened to them. It took about 5 years off from buying. It was just drawing. And then, of course, got hooked back into buying. But I mostly buy the classics, stuff from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what inspires me a bit more. I like the, when comics were still on newsprint. I like even the old printing processes.
Yeah.
Like how they used to color. It makes more sense to me as a tactile thing. And I had nothing against the digital age of comics, or where it's gone. It's a little more confusing to jump into the story nowadays. Like I picked up the DC Rebirth collection, the one that has the first issue of all it's about 600 pages, 700 pages.
Okay.
And I think that was the last new comic that I bought.
Oh man. Yeah, I think for me, the latest things I've seen were the Power Rangers series. Like the Go-Go Power Rangers and stuff. That's the only thing I really collect, man. As far as comics goes, but okay. That's great, dude. That's a badass collection, man. Maybe a little later we could see it if it's nearby, or.
Well, most of it I've actually got them at my parents' house because that's somewhere where I know it'll be, safe and sound.
Man, well, we're definitely gonna need to see some pictures, man.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
that'd be cool to see, man. Post on your story. Um, so just looking at, just being a fan of your work, dude. I've been following you for a while now as well. Um, it seems like you got a pretty nostalgic style, art style, which is pretty awesome. This is something that I can't do, so I kind of admire you for it. It's like quick, it's simple, and it gets straight to the point, dude. And it's very vintage, dude. Classic. I love it. Tell me more about that, dude. What drew you into working around that style, or who influenced you for that?
I guess for myself, back 2000 to 2010, I was really into animation. Filmation, cartoons, He-Man, She-Ra, stuff like Gem and the Holograms. Pretty much. There's a whole style of animation, and it really brought me back to the 70s and 80s. The Archie's cartoons.
Yeah.
And then, so of course, if you admire something, if you're an artist, you usually try to replicate it. And from there, I thought about it. If I was going to do comic books, like which artists come to mind that I really find that I'm drawn towards. Like I can sit there and read for 2 hours. Classic artists, but current artists, I'll sit there and read for half an hour. So I found that I was more drawn to that style. So I just kept practicing it. I was trying to do digital inking for a bit there, a year or two ago, because I wasn't able to really sit down at a drawing table when I was doing some work. So I said, I'll try to do that. And Jack Kirby, and Gene Colan. There's a bunch of different artists that inspire me, and I feel that you can only get smarter as an artist. Like your hand can get smarter the more you practice, and trying to emulate or to work from their pencils. Definitely doesn't hurt. And there's a point when you're learning a style that it just becomes easier to repeat, and the thinking process behind it, whether it's lighting or shape or contour, or even if I'm drawing a portrait of someone, like I did one of David Spade a couple days ago, and it flows naturally at that point. It's just how my hand thinks, and it's more classical. That's kind of what I've always been. More of a classical artist.
Mm-hmm.
Towards cartooning and comic books and figurative art.
No, yeah, dude. I could definitely tell, man, and also another thing, it's you've been grinding, man. It's since I've been on. I mean, you're constant as well with your posting. So
yeah, I actually felt this year I took a little bit of time off here and there for a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, and it was weird because there are a lot of people who do that all the time. And I really pushed myself. I tried to do 1,000 posts in 2018, and I managed to do it. And then I was like, well, I felt a little burnt out, and I actually questioned myself. I said, why am I drawing what I'm drawing? And I said, what, I got to step back. Whether it's for a week or 2 weeks. But then all of a sudden, I felt, I started feeling compelled to draw again. And some days I'll sit there and do a couple drawings in a day. That's sort of how it is.
No, definitely, man. So just drawing like all this stuff, man. Tell me about some OC, some original characters that you might have, man.
That for me is it's always an interesting thing. I think I was actually more drawn towards OC characters back in the 90s, and that's something for me that as a young creative person, I wanted to make my own characters. I wanted to make my own comics. I was serious. I'd go to San Diego Comic Convention with a portfolio and a comic book I was working on. Trying to get work or whatever, or trying to get it published. And towards the actual characters, I always struggle with the the writing aspect of it. You know, I can come up with the character, but telling a good story, you know, you have to have a good story first to really make it worthwhile. Because, you know, like a story, it needs believable or at least interesting characters, and just as much as characters need a really thought out story. You know, for writers, you know, I was really drawn towards Grant Morrison.
Okay.
And even writers like Mark Waid and Chris Claremont. You know, people that could tell stories over the course of a year. Jeff Johns is another good one. And I always thought if I could write that good, it'd be worth doing something more than just drawings of original characters. You know, I had a whole series of characters. They were numbered 1 through 6, kind of like the Power Rangers sometimes are. You know, 1 through 5, 1 through 6. Even the SPD.
Yeah.
Got the numbers on the suits. You know, like it was less about them having the numbers on the suits, but what they were. Each character, you know, had a specific name. They were based on classic TV characters from the 60s and 70s. What was it? You know, it's funny because since then I've seen some of the characters actually become licensed. The British Avengers, Steed and Miss Peel. What was the Prisoner is another show. I thought that the main character in that could be adapted into a team comic, and there were a couple other characters where I'd take the character and kind of rewrite them, but allude to the character, kind of like how Alan Moore does with a lot of his stuff when he was doing ABC Comics.
Okay.
So I was really drawn to doing stuff like that. You know, a lot of that is less interesting to me now as more of a mature person. But yeah, lately I've been drawing a character called Playback, and she's you know, she's supposed to kind of be like a Dakota Fanning or what was it, the girl from Valerian, Cara Devine, sort of that kind of youth. You know, smaller woman. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but I figured she has this power where she can rewind through like time. You know, first maybe it's 10 seconds, then a minute, then a couple minutes. So if she gets into a fight, she can actually go back and then replay the actual fight, so she can learn from it, and that's kind of her advantage. Even though she's small, you know, as a person, you know,
that's badass though.
Yeah. I thought it was, you know, I thought it was an interesting character to work on, and you know, that's for me probably one of the more developed characters I've been making lately. And you know, I'm trying to challenge myself to do some comic pages of her, which I'll probably do in the next couple months.
Love the name, dude. Playback. That's it's a badass name.
Yeah, I tried to find something that it's difficult. You probably know if you ever come up with a character, you know, to actually find a name that hasn't been used.
Oh yeah, that's you know, as the old saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So
yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's definitely fucking hard to do. I forgot who it is I told, but yeah, man, I tried coming up with original characters, and I totally agree with what you're saying, dude. It's I got some stories in mind, and
well, that's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, me and Delanus, I mean, we that's my brother. You guys could also find him on here. He's actually the one who helped me create the logo for Chatting with Sam.
Is he a graphic designer too?
He dabbles with it a little bit here and there. He's not, but that's not his main role. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, me and him, we've been working on something, but we don't have solid names for anything yet. You know, so yeah, man, I feel you, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I know that you know, for me, I pretty much always welcome that if there are writers out there who, you know, have a good story, I'd always, you know, be down to come up with ideas for it or to even work on projects. Like I've done a couple of projects before that were like that, where a writer, you know, was tasked to come up with a story, and then I draw some pages for it, you know, maybe sample page for 10 pages of a story.
Okay.
You know, just do that for the fun of it, to see where the project goes. But yeah, you know, it's a lot of the times, you know, artists aren't always. I read somewhere that artists think visually, or they respond visually. You know, when they're having an idea. whereas there's another part of the brain that's used to actually write. So whenever I see an artist who's an artist writer, I'm always amazed that they can do both. Towards using the literary aspect of the brain, the part that remembers text, and also can express itself into passages. Like for me, like I'll think of scenes, I'll think of characters and what they're doing in the scene, and it'll make sense. But who wants to read a comic full of pinups? not like it's been done. Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane almost did that. There's a whole crew of them, and sure they did sell for a bit, but the audience got really smart.
Cool. So, talking about artists and stuff like that, who are some of your favorite artists, either professional and household names to, just people we might find here on Instagram?
Yeah, for sure. I'll start with some Instagram names. There's artists that I look forward to on Instagram. That when they post, it's kind of like it's like going to the Christmas tree, and you get the present. And I'm sure the list I have is, it's so difficult to name all the names, but I'm sure there's at least 50 or 60 of them.
Oh shit!
On here, and I follow them, and there's some of them are they've become friends too on here, like Josh Green. He's a good dude.
Awesome dude.
Awesome dude. Been talking to Tom Sheepmaker.
Okay.
TSR. He's a good dude too. He hasn't been practicing for as long as me, that's for sure. But I can definitely see a lot of promise in his inspiration and where he's going. Some of the guys that I actually look at their work, and I'm so amazed by that are like V. Lee Dominguez.
Yeah.
His work's always amazing. He comes and goes towards releasing stuff. Sometimes he'll put stuff out daily, and other times he won't be on for a month or so. But I can understand.
Yeah, he's definitely on my list, man. I've been following him for I think at least a good year as well, and he's definitely on my top list for beginning of 2020. So yeah, keep out for that, man.
Yeah, he seems to be a great guy. Whenever I direct messages with him, he's really down to earth. As I said, there's so many on here that it's actually difficult to start naming. I feel like I'm going to be omitting a lot of people.
No, that's cool, man.
So, maybe I'll get to the other part where it's great for comic artists. Probably my top 5: Jack Kirby, Gene Colan, creator of Daredevil, or not the creator, but the second artist. I guess Bill Everett was the creator. Steve Ditko. I really enjoy his Doctor Strange from the 60s.
Oh yeah.
Dennis Cowan did Deathlock, and lots of other great series. There's probably a lot more than that. But those are some that come to mind as direct inspirations.
No, that's cool. I mean, at least the list, I'm pretty sure the list is endless, dude. But it gives us a good idea, at least to other artists and stuff in the know, and we could, like I said, I could definitely see some of your inspiration from your artwork, it's like Steve Ditko and stuff like that. So that's awesome, dude. That's interesting, very interesting.
And there's also, I guess on the flip side, I guess I haven't even talked about was with Archie Comics. I guess I have to say my favorite Archie Comics artist is Harry Lucy from the 60s. He's one of those really talented artists who can show slapstick as well as do really descriptive figures, where he's he can make Archie look like he's stiff as a board, and all of a sudden he's loose, and it's and the expressions are amazing. That's one of those artists that gets me to know that cartooning like that is still art. There's definitely an artistry to it.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed, Ryan, is your coloring, man. It's sometimes you mess and you dabble with color. What's going on there, man? Is it something you're into, or?
Well, usually like, I'm a bit of a purist towards the drawing that I like it to be in black and white. If it's a
Okay.
sketch card, I'll color it. That's kind of to push myself to doing that. I just started doing the markers again when I started doing the sketch cards pretty much a couple years ago. Like I took a big break from even coloring things. I used to watercolor my drawings using like a gouache, so it was more like had a base to it, so the colors weren't transparent. Like some people, they watercolor always transparent. And
Okay.
I learned a technique back at school, which was you would lay the almost like you'd lay like an acrylic
Okay.
on the page, but the softer tones in the watercolor, is what I was going for. Pretty confident at that. And then digital coloring. For me, I find that if I'm going to color one of my drawings, I feel safer doing it that way. And sometimes I'm inspired to do it. Other times I just kind of put it aside as a task to do at a later time because I'm not. It's usually if something can be said with color, it's worth it.
Okay.
But if you don't really have anything to say extra with color, then it's not always as important.
Yeah, man, you got this. Just looking through your page here, you got this old Batman Returns.
Yeah.
That you did a while back, man. That it looks sweet, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was actually practicing on Procreate for the first week practicing on it.
For real? That's Procreate?
Yeah.
No way, dude. For real?
Yeah.
Wow, dude. That looks like colored pencil, dude.
Yeah. Well, I got the iPad about almost a year ago, and my parents got me that with an Apple Pencil because I did some renovations for them, and I sat down there and tried for a week and put some of my favorite ones that I did up there. In some ways I find it's a little too quick of a medium. Like I'm used to doing stuff like that by hand.
Okay.
And but it's still interesting. I'll probably do more. I also feel like there are so many artists out there who are so much better than me at it that it's not always the best thing to show.
Yeah. I also see that aside from sketch cards and paintings or just original art, you also work with the 228 labels, the slaps, the infamous slaps.
Yeah.
So
you can thank Josh for mailing me a lot of the slaps because I'm in Canada, so we don't really have something that's just like that. But yeah, he mailed me a whole stack of them, and definitely I'm a big supporter of it. Part of it, that if someone wants to use them or myself, you can always put them somewhere. Stick them somewhere, or they're fun to trade.
No, definitely fun to trade. Not just Josh, also Phalo Halo and Bruce 13 have got me into them.
Oh yeah, for sure. He would always send me a courtesy slap sticker with the trade.
Okay, cool. You open for trades as well, man?
Oh, for sure.
Is that something you do?
Yeah, pretty much. As long as the person who's trading me is patient enough to give it at least a month for return time. If I'm busy, other times I can get a trade done within a week or so.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to do trades all the time, and then I haven't actually advertised in a while. I figure I'm spending the next couple months pretty much taking care of a cat and house sitting for my parents while they snowbird down south. So I'll definitely have time to do trades when I'm there.
Sweet, dude. Aside from trades, man, commission work, you take that as well?
Yeah, I do take commission work. It's pretty much if the idea is good, or at least not too odd of a challenge, I'll probably do it. Every year I do a handful of commissions. I've done a number of pieces that have been framed and put in households, and Star Wars. I did one of the Infinity Gauntlet cover for the first issue. A lot of those ones I'll do them at like 11 by 17, like really big drawings. Really big fan of the challenge of someone telling me that they want like 20 characters on a page, or something that's more difficult than just a small drawing. Although I've done portraits, for children, of them,
Okay.
and things like that, which are more, I guess, memory pieces. Yeah,
Now,
definitely down to doing commissions if anyone feels like it, and I'm really realistic about prices too.
that was actually my next question. Is it's something that people, it's artists that do commissions. Um, as far as pricing, I mean, how do you personally price your artwork, man? At the
Well,
moment.
I usually try to see it as how much time does it take me? Say it's sketch cards, perfectly down with $10 Canadian for a sketch card, which is what, $7-8 US.
Okay.
Unless it's something a bit more difficult, for what the idea is. Generally, I'll do larger drawings. Just at depending on the size of the drawing, I have my own paper cutter, so I cut out my Bristol, which is the same stock as the sketch card stock I use, which is a 300 pound press.
Yeah.
So it's as thick as you can get. Like it's pretty solid as a board. And as long as the ideas are good, and depending on how many things that person wants, I'm always willing to cut prices down.
Well,
What's charge? Yeah, I did one of full color, the Avengers #4 cover,
okay.
and it was 11x17, and I charged $80 US.
Oh, yeah, not bad.
I thought it was a considerate price.
Yeah, not bad at all. Very reasonable. What's your oddest request?
It's difficult. There was actually, it was funny. Bruce 13, he wanted me to do Dragon Ball characters, and I've watched the entire Dragon Ball saga up to Super, and for me it was like, okay, I'd watched that a couple years before, and I hadn't drawn anything like that in forever, so that was an odd request. I've drawn a portrait of a rabbit.
Okay.
Was commissioned. I'm sure the rabbit was probably only about a year old, so it was a bit more difficult.
Cool. Marvel or DC, bro? I gotta ask
That's the hardest question. As a child, I enjoyed Marvel, read Marvel religiously. I remember I used to pick up. There was 1 month when I picked up like 25 Marvel comics that month, like new issues. It was like all the Spider-Mans, all the X-Men books, pretty much anything I could get. Broke the bank every month picking up those comics. But for DC, as I've gotten more mature, I respect the DC stories more, and I love the DC TV shows. Those are my favorite things. The Marvel TV shows are hit and miss in what they've done in the last 15 years or so. The cartoons, DC cartoons are usually a bit more mature. Yeah. But I definitely wouldn't, I wouldn't say that I dislike either universe. They're both flawed, but also well constructed.
Okay.
You can tell by how they have to do a reboot DC every 5-6 years.
Yeah.
That there's a flaw in there.
Yeah, look at Marvel. How many times have they done Spider-Man? So
yeah, I used to follow the Marvel app for new releases. I used to just read all the check out the new pages that they had to preview, and I gave up eventually just because it was so confusing. Every year they reboot most of their series. Towards is it actually important to understand the logic in it?
Oh yeah. Man. Good shit, dude. Full-time or part-time artist, brother?
Life is what it is, and if I can do drawing full-time, that's what I try to do. Okay. But mind you, life calls me in a lot of different directions, so I do odd jobs and I do other things on the side to make ends meet. I have a great adoration for animals, so I dog sit and cat sit.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Walk dogs. I'll do that for 10, 20 days, or more, to take care of an animal if they need it. For someone going on vacation. So stuff like that helps with income.
Cool, man. Any other hobbies, dude, that you're into besides drawing?
I'm a big collector of movies and TV shows, and I watch a lot of those. So for me, it's kind of a hobby, not a hobby, but the actual the work that goes into it. It's like if there's, I think everyone has something that they look up on eBay that they're into. Mm-hmm. Anyone with an interest, and for me, it's I tend to try to find whatever I can. Like was it last year? The Hercules and Xena shows.
Yeah, I remember that.
They've released these new prints, these new complete series. They're small, it's the complete series and 2 inches width. So everyone was listing the Anchor Bay sets online. Okay. And I was able to pick up the entire 6 seasons of each. I had a couple of them already, but I got them all within about 2.5 months. And generally, I didn't pay more than $6.
Oh, wow.
And look at online, they go for $800 for the entire series of one of them. It's like 6 seasons. It's one of those things like no one can actually get all of them. But at that one point, because people were trading them in to buy the new slimmer case.
Yeah.
Because they pretty much both series takes up about 40 inches of a shelf, altogether.
Dang, that's a lot, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot, but there's so much respect for it, and there's so much special features. When I went to school, I took the media arts. Mm-hmm. It was the closest thing I could do to doing comic books. So I'm also I occasionally do work on films and videos. So part of that is it's like taking a class watching the special features. I'm sure anybody that's into TV and films or probably loves the option to click on a special feature.
Guilty. I love that shit, man.
Yeah. And for me, watching a movie, unless it's just bare bones release, whatever, a 2-hour movie could take me 4 hours, 5 hours to watch because I watch all the special features.
Yeah.
Most people are like, why do you sit there for so long watching that? I'm like, I'm into it, and I guess that's what constitutes a hobby, is when you're into something. Time passes by effortlessly, and you're patient within the task. Your hobby should never be frustrating.
No, not at all. And if it is, then you're probably doing something wrong, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool, dude. Let's go into something we like to call Josh's tool bag, man. It's named after my boy Josh Queen.
For sure.
So let's dig into
it. As a thing, he sent me these set of markers. So
okay.
Waiting. He sent them to my parents' address, so I'm waiting to get them next week when I head down there for the holidays. But great guy. He really believes in his tools. He even sends me he sent me this one, which is I guess it's from the Kuretake or brush pens. Stuff that I can't get in Canada.
Okay.
Actually, this one's Pentel. They're from Japan.
Sweet.
Refillable.
It's always a plus.
But I guess the big question probably is, what do I like to use?
Yep, that's the question, man.
That's the question, yeah. Having watched a bunch of your other interviews, I pretty much figured that. Well, I'll start with the big gun, which is the Sharpie Magnum.
Nice.
Yep. And most people are like, why would you use something that big? And someone who uses it, I've got comments. People say that it's a pen that if they walked around this outside, they get arrested because it's immediately a graffiti.
Oh yeah.
But when I'm filling in the black spaces, it makes so much sense just to do a broad fill, just like if you were using Procreate or one of the other drawing tools, you just kind of painted it, And for Sharpies, they're pretty cheap. Like they're the regular and the chisel. I find myself using the chisel less as I use this one more. So I use those ones for fills. I don't actually draw with it per se, towards actually laying a line. It's more for filling in a shape. For pencils, big fan of the lead grippers.
Okay.
So they hold big leads, usually HB. Yeah, I've got two of these, and pretty much once I started using it, it's the first tool I grab when I want to put something on the page. Whether it's a small drawing or a big drawing, at least then I can rough it in. I've got so many mechanical pencils. Use mechanical pencils, 0.5 and 0.7 millimeters, or if I'm going to draw eyeballs or any other detail like fingers, I'll start to use that tool. I use standard erasers.
Okay.
A good technique I learned is to erase in a circle on the page. So if I was drawing on the page, I guess you can't see it. I just go in a circle, lightly going over the page, and then dusting the page with either a napkin or a brush so that But actually, it's funny though. As I find, I've been using the eraser less lately.
Okay.
Just kind of leaving some of the pencils on the page when I finished. That's a good one, a brush. Yeah, I have another brush which I don't have here, which is actually good for dusting off leather shoes or whatever. It's a big brush. It's a good one to use for it. And then for actual detailing, microns, and I pretty much any number up to number 1 I'll use. So
okay.
003, 005, 05, 02, 03. I'm sure for me, I like the 05 for drawing. Like for this drawing, I use the 05 for most of that.
I like that, dude.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just the amount of pressure on the page to make the line thinner.
Okay.
That's and depending on what it is, I'll challenge myself to use brush pens for sketch cards or smaller things if I've colored it, and then I want to go over to that. And for colors, for markers, I've got a Stedler set, 72 set.
Okay.
Stedler ones. They're dual tip, and for me, if I'm gonna color, I just found permanent is the solution, because then if a little bit of water gets on it, if you're out in the rain one day and just if it's lightly showering or whatever, it won't actually ruin the drawing. Mm-hmm. So I use that. Occasionally for doing color tints, I'll use Crayola, different ones. I've got probably about 200 different colors in the Crayola. But they're perfect because they're washable. You can use it like a color wash on top of our color to add elements to it. People use Copics all the time. Technically, they're too rich for my blood, is what I say. And for what it is, it's I have to actually love using color more to do that.
Yeah, they want your firstborn, man.
They want your firstborn, and they want your mortgage. So instead of paying for house mortgage, you gotta
pay for the 24 color basic set and shit.
And I have to apply for a $10,000 loan to the bank to become competent enough at Copics.
Oh my god, dude, it's funny. Cool, man. Anything you're currently working? Any projects or anything for the future that you might see yourself doing in 2020, man?
Yeah. The first thing that I got lined up for sure is Josh and I are doing a collaboration, and it's going to be 100 X-Men 92, the animated series. Yeah. Cards, and
that's going to be badass, dude.
And we reached to 50 to start with, and then 10 of them are fully finished, 20 are inked, and then another 10 are just penciled, and then we're going to swap. We're thinking probably like March swapping. And it might take another 2 months or 3 months to finish that up. but 50 cards each to start, and then after that do another finishing up on the other 40. And I got the hugest challenge on that one because Josh isn't really big on drawing the ladies. He can color them, he said, but that means all of the ones that are just in pencil have to be male characters. And for me, with the X-Men, I wanted to do 25 guys, 25 girls.
Okay.
Rogue, Jean Grey, all the Jubilee, Storm, all the strong ladies. And they definitely there's something for me that I was 10 when that show first hit. It's hits a point in the brain which was the prepubescent part or the teenage part when that hit, and you just think, yeah, they're sexy as a cartoon. And there's a good thing. I actually connected with the artist who was the line artist for the show. He was the line producer, Will Muganut.
Okay.
I connected with him probably about 9 years ago, because he also did Gem and the Holograms, and we did a lot of discussions back and forth about drawing and what his experiences were, kind of like how you're interviewing me. I interviewed him a lot. Took tutelage to him, and talked to a lot of the other artists who were working on Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, who worked on a number of the Filmation pieces from the 80s and the X-Men cartoons, X-Men Evolution, some of the artists who worked on the Batman cartoon, Superman cartoon, and that. And to me, they're actually some of the more significant teacher to student experiences that I've had where I've been a student to them. And really, some of the best things come from them. They tell you to make your art as simple as possible when you're doing a character design, because you're going to be drawing that character, you're animating it thousands of times.
Oh yeah.
If it's in a comic, you're going to draw that character probably hundreds of times. And a pouch on the wrong spot, they say like Cable, pouch on the wrong spot. It's the most difficult thing to do in an animation, to animate those things accurately. And hairstyles. There's some hairstyles that work really well in cartoons and that, and as well if you're drawing, you don't always want to sit there drawing from the front, and maybe you have a good 3/4 view shot of the character. It gets kind of stale. But definitely there's some good things that I learned from those guys.
Good, man. Well, that's pretty much it, man. That just about brings us to the end of the show, bro. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on that maybe I didn't get to, or if there's anybody willing to ask some questions that they might have, feel free.
I'm
Now's the
definitely
time.
open for some questions and anything anyone wants to know.
Cool. How's so with collaborations and stuff? Seen you done some fan work for Josh Queen, TS Art Design, man.
Yeah, for TS Art, with his Dreambox comics. Done a number of work there and collaborated with Tom, and Chad with the group of artists towards character design, where one of them will design the character and then we pass off the character and we work on it. It's a lot of effort. I've probably drawn about 12 or 13 drawings for them. But a lot of it's fun because it's a learning experience, and there's with those guys they love to video chat.
Oh yeah, they do.
So it's inspirational, especially on those days when there's no one around. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's a conversation I was having with Tom the other day. It's that group chat. It's definitely a great motivation for, at least for me, and I would say any other artist. It's just we're amongst ourselves. You know what I mean? So I think that always leaves room for inspiration and stuff.
Yeah, I never take any. For me, I can never take any of it too seriously. That it's like a job. For what it is, it's if I have an idea, it's perfect way to do that, and it's a little different than drawing a Marvel or DC character or a brand licensed character, where I feel that something comes out of it. And Tom drew back my character, and a couple of the other guys, Incandescence Comics drew my character. Jonka draws, for the character playback I was describing. They came back with their versions of it, all because of the Dreambox group, or just reposted.
If I were to turn on your radio right now, man, what would I hear?
Radio, for sure. I love soundtracks. I'm a big collector of movie soundtracks.
Oh,
The instrumentals, Hans Zimmer is a favorite. I was listening to the Mr. Robot soundtrack.
Okay.
That was a good one. What else did I do? Yesterday I listened to Satyricon, which is a Fellini film. It's an Italian composer, Nino Rotes. It's really, it was all the instruments were from about 2,000 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's just stuff that, doesn't really, I could read a book to it perfectly if I was feeling unhinged, or I could do drawings to it easily. Yeah, I'm into that stuff. For rock music, I like, the Doobie Brothers.
Okay.
Listen to Kansas. Classic rock, that sort of yacht rock. I'm into that.
Okay.
I can blast it around my dad and not feel like I'm out of date.
That's funny. Good shit, man. Well, yeah, dude. Once again, man, Ryan, thank you very much for coming in, dude. Thank you for giving me the time, and it's been a pleasure. It's definitely not the first time we've chatted. Maybe the second.
Earlier this week.
Yeah, we met for the first time, which was also nice. It's funny to see the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know. Like a bunch of the others on there, when you're doing drawings, you feel kind of weird putting a photo of yourself on your feed, because all of a sudden it kind of interrupts that flow of what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
I feel the same way. Maybe on my birthday I posted a photo on my stories.
Yeah. I try to stay away from that as well, man. This is about art, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, some people have it, but I'll stick with it until I come up with something, maybe some sort of logo or branding or something for chatting with them. I'll keep it as is.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I always enjoy doing my own typography for titles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like sitting down there, going, grabbing a ruler, grabbing some pencils, and putting it on the paper, and then actually drafting it all by hand. So that's what if you're coming up with an idea, always do it by hand. Like if you're using a circle, using these sort of compass protractor things. Easiest thing to do is to draw it big, bigger than you're actually going to use it, and then shrink it down when you use it on the web or Instagram or YouTube.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you have it. Tips and tricks from Picture Player here. So yeah, dude. Thanks again. I think we got a couple minutes left, if that. Thanks again, dude. Ryan, appreciate it, man. Everybody who's watching this, recent viewers, future viewers,
who's been hanging out and listening.
Definitely, man. Thank you guys for your welcoming us into your cribbos. Find Picture Player on Instagram. Also, Ryan Solski on Facebook, right?
Yep.
Sweet. Thanks again, dude. This is definitely not going to be the last time, man. There's a lot more that,
for sure.
Unfortunately for the time, I think I got another one. I'm going to take an hour break, get some things together, and then we got our next interview in about an hour, guys.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to all the interviews to come with all the other artists, too. I'll be watching.
Cool. And that's it, guys. Just like that, that's been episode 10. Once again, Picture Player on Instagram. Make sure you guys follow him. Check out his freaking amazing work. And stay tuned for the next hour. We'll be having my boy Nick on. And he's going to be coming on at 8 o'clock. So that's, it, dude. Art. And that's it, guys. This has been episode 10. Thank you very much, Ryan. Appreciate it, bro. Thanks, guys. See you guys later. Sky.